Video games are designed to be done and played and experienced in a way that a narrative film is not. And most video game adaptations fail in imposing a narrative, a cinematic narrative onto the things that people already like. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Visually Stunning Movie Podcast. I'm Mark, that's Ryan. Hey Ryan.
Hello.
So we saw 2 screenings this week, and I squeezed in 2 more that you have not yet seen, but you're going to. But let's talk about the one that actually opens this week, not the 2 that are already out or the one that opens next week. Horror movie-ish.
Yeah, psychological,
and a little bit of horror. Backrooms. Based on the YouTube sensational shorts created by Kane Parsons. This film is directed by Kane Parsons and stars Chiwetel Ejiofor and Renata Rinsv and Mark Duplass. Or Duplat, if you will, if you'd like to be French. If you're familiar with the Backrooms phenomenon, then you know what this movie is about. If you're not familiar with the Backrooms, let's see if I can do a quick primer and then you can tell everyone whether I'm even close.
Sure.
Backrooms exist through slips in our reality in which there's an endless series of spaces which appear mostly normal but often have corridors that go nowhere, stairs that go upside down, doors in the ceiling, stuff like furniture and things like half coming out of walls.
Sure.
It's very disturbing just from a human processing kind of way. And then there seem to be things there, often not seen, but you kind of know that they're not happy, but they're not everywhere. This isn't like walking through, Walking Dead zombie hordes.
No,
this is just noises in the distance, shadows. I think I saw something duck behind that wall. And then finally, oh my God, it's going to kill me. Yeah. So, Chiwetel Ejiofor is Clark. He runs a shitty furniture store.
Yes.
And as his life unravels from other events, he discovers a way into the back rooms in the basement of his shitty furniture store. He tells his therapist, who doesn't believe him. He gets 2 of his employees to go in there with him. Bad things happen. And then she shows up to talk to him and more bad things happen. I would like to say that, look, there's a lot of people out there that this movie is tracking to make a buttload of money this weekend.
Yeah.
A lot of movies track to make a buttload of money and then make a buttload of money. I have also said that a buttload of money does not mean your movie is good. Not making a buttload of money doesn't necessarily mean your movie is bad.
No.
So this movie is going to make a buttload of money this weekend. Probably win the box office.
It could, yes.
Over. Everyone's saying it's tracking higher than Mando in its second week. So, I was familiar with the backroom phenomenon going in. This has all the vibes, and it should, because the same guy that built the backrooms on YouTube has built the backrooms here. So it should feel correct, and it does. How familiar with you? What had you seen?
I was fairly familiar in that I had seen a few of the shorts. It was. He's not the only one who's done shorts. A variety of people who have done kind of contributed to this. Kind of falls into the creepypasta element. So there's a lot of people who've contributed sort of to the overall mythos,
right?
But I guess he at least was one of the early contributors to the sort of mythos of this. So there's even a kind of a thin man element to
Yeah.
To this. So I was aware of the phenomenon. I was aware of kind of the concept, the idea. I'd seen a few of the shorts. Again, it kind of been a mix of things that he had done and then things that other people had done. So I wasn't exactly sure what his version was going to necessarily be, or what, because it is kind of it's kind of a world that was developed by internet culture and people in general. I wasn't even sure if he was kind of like the originator or one of the originators or where he fit into it. But yeah, so I was fairly aware of it. I had seen some of them. Obviously these things are mostly shorts. The aesthetic to it tends to be found footage VHS sort of looking stuff, shot first person. And you're dropped into a space that shouldn't exist but does. There's Manhattan Project sort of stuff with the elements of the furniture or mannequins or whatever that are just caught in between, as if they've kind of been transported there, but were transported wrong.
Well,
Or,
yes, wrong.
That they're stuck in the wall. They're stuck in the wall. So it's built kind of on just that sense of being in a place where you don't really think you should be there.
Right.
Somehow you've stumbled onto this place. So it's got a nice element to it. The thing is, can this hold up for 90 minutes?
For 1 hour and 50 minutes.
Well, yes. So I will say I think it holds up for 90 minutes. I'm not sure if it holds up entirely for 150.
You know what? I don't disagree with that. And because look, the whole reason, I think the reason that this works on YouTube is because it is short, bite-sized bits that are not telling a story. They're providing a glimpse into a place that seems both correct and incredibly wrong. And I think, to your point about it's right for 90 minutes, but not for 1 hour and 50 minutes.
Yeah.
It falls prey to, because it's one generation removed of video game adaptation. Video games are designed to be done and played and experienced in a way that a narrative film is not. And most video game adaptations fail in imposing a narrative, a cinematic narrative, onto the things that people already like. The Resident Evil moody stuff, Silent Hill. This is like a less dark and foggy Silent Hill kind of vibe. So it suffers from that. And I think that is where it fell down for me, is when it tried to impose and explain certain things about Backrooms in terms of our characters, not in terms of their existence.
Sure. And I think that's kind of where I am, because the minute you start giving this world rules is the moment you start saying, well, but that doesn't make sense.
Right.
Or, okay, but that's fine, and that applies to this character, but why don't those rules apply to this other character? And I think that in general, you don't ask those questions if those things don't get established.
Right.
And so if we could somehow exist in this place where there were no defined rules, or you couldn't even, it not necessarily that everything was just so random you couldn't, but just to the, the moment you start applying logic to something is the moment that people can punch holes in your logic. And so if you don't give us enough to like say, okay, so these are the rules of the Backrooms, it's what you bring with you, or, there's certain aspects to it that if you don't I don't know. I mean, it felt like it set up certain rules, but didn't apply those rules to everyone.
And they were never actually clearly defined rules.
And
they
yeah,
kind of, they would kind of, and mostly these were done by Clark. And who at the end he tried to explain to Mary, his therapist, what was going on, but even he doesn't really understand. But he's making a definitive statement that is demonstrably wrong.
Well, and he's not the main issue. My issue is the introduction of the third character necessarily, or the third.
That does go back to the shorts and the creation. So but, I get it. I almost feel like he's not in it enough.
That could,
and therefore the explanations that Clark is making are even more outrageous or more blatantly incorrect.
Sean Means, one of our fellow critics, he said, and I think there's a truth in this, that it's either 10 minutes too long. I think it's probably 20 minutes too long, but anyway, same sort of thing exists, or it's 10 minutes too short, because we need, if you're going to start giving explanation,
right,
you have to give something more than what we're given,
right?
Because what we're given is just sort of an in-between thing,
right?
And they'll say, yeah, but we don't want to define it. Well, you already started to,
right?
Or
I think the appeal of this is its lack of definition.
Yes. So the moment
clarity.
So the moment you have a character who seems to be outside and actually kind of knows what's going on, or has studied, or is as close to an expert as you're going to get,
right,
you start breaking what is fun about, the experience.
Right.
And it was funny because afterwards we talked about, hey, okay, well, what if it's this and this, and and in the moment you're like, okay, maybe, and then 5 minutes later you're like, no, that makes no sense because this, and this.
Yeah. The metaphor that they use is perfect in this film. It's like describing a dog to someone that's never seen a dog.
Yeah.
And then asking them to draw the dog. They're going to get some things right and some things wrong. But in terms of this, it all needs they shouldn't even be trying to describe the dog. They should be letting the audience experience the dog.
Yeah.
If you will, to carry the metaphor forward, to take the dog to the dog park and play with it. So like I said, the vibe on this is crazy. It's all practical effects. I know the YouTube shorts, a lot of it's CGI, which is why they went with the found footage VHS stuff, because early graphics can be hidden behind shitty video.
Yeah. Well, and to be clear,
no problem with that. I think it's a problem.
I think it's great. And to be clear, this whole film is not shot in VHS style. Elements of it are, but there are stuff that is also shot in a more traditional way.
But again, the fact that it for this film they're using practical sets negates the need.
Yes, and the practical sets I think were a wonderful thing.
Oh God, yes. Always practical, people. If you're making a film and you can do it practically, do it practically.
You could, in theory, have used maybe 2 or 3 rooms and repurposed those 2 or 3 rooms over and over again, but that becomes something that a logistical nightmare to a certain extent. It's easier to just build this maze. Because it doesn't have to make sense. Yes, but so I don't know exactly how much is always new, but enough of it is that they didn't have to probably sit down and do diagrams about, okay, now what angle can we shoot this from to make this look different, or I think they built enough sets that it was more or less, let's just shoot and not worry
Yeah, well, and I think a lot of it, if they were smart, and the set designer probably was, he goes, look, let's make all the, they probably got a huge warehouse. This is how I would have done it.
Yeah.
And I'm probably completely wrong. So let me explain how I
Who knows?
So big ass warehouse, even just, a Walmart sized warehouse, right? And you build the roof, the ceiling, this, kind of standard 12-foot drop ceiling, over most of it.
Yeah, there are a few areas.
There's a couple areas where you have to
go,
higher up or down low. And that's, but all of the walls, and they have like half walls, all of those are movable.
Yeah.
So you can just move, because nothing is, there are square, conventional looking spaces, but then there's parts where everything's canted.
Yeah.
Walls are canted in relation to the light fixtures, or, the floor slopes up to a descending, you got the Wonka-esque door, into the chocolate room. So you can do, and that would be cool, because then you could just repurpose all of this area, and that's a lot of space to play with. And with computer mapping, all of that can just be redone over and over and over. You can move it around in real time.
Yeah.
You can move those walls. You could have like Amazon forklift things. Those walls could be moving around in real time to rebuild sets behind you. It's kind of cool. It's almost like a real version of the volume.
Yeah.
If you did it that way. But that's not how I know that's not how they did it, because that would be way too much fun. And I'm sure they just built a bunch of sets, which is fine. Totally cool. But the fact is that they're real. That's the important thing.
Yeah. And so and it's not the visual effects as they were, or as it, the visual tricks or things are actually things that are built into the set.
Yes.
The perspectives, these rooms play a lot with perspective.
Yes, they do.
And whatnot. So,
and again, but the problem is if you make a movie, there's got to be, there doesn't have to be a story, but then it becomes experimental theater.
Yeah.
And then you don't get the audience that you want.
But
size that you want.
I think that, and again, I haven't watched all the shorts. I'm not by any means an expert on, the narrative or anything like that. So I'm familiar just in bits and pieces and whatnot. So I a lot of this has probably already been established, or there's probably even an intense debate about what's canon and what's not canon, and what's, as far as the Backrooms go.
Right.
But for me, I like this movie. I do like this film.
Yes.
I just think that it's just a tweak away from being a really great film. And I think that's what kind of, the fact that it doesn't really stick the landing, as it were, or it doesn't come together exactly in a way that's either ambiguous enough or detailed enough.
Yeah.
That it feels somewhat like a letdown.
The movie, what's funny is the way I describe the Backrooms, and it's I saw this thing on Facebook or on Twitter today, X, whatever you want to call it. Someone said it's really exciting, looking forward to Backrooms debuting this week, and what I'm not looking forward to is everyone describing everything as liminal.
Yeah,
this is liminal space. Go look it up. Liminal spaces, the way I kind of put them in my head, it's like the animation that everyone likes to cite in Polar Express, where the people are the uncanny valley for people. It's like liminal spaces is like the uncanny valley for things. It's like this place feels almost normal,
but not.
And or if it feels absolutely normal, you understand somehow innately that it is not. And therefore it is wrong, and therefore there's a problem.
Well, and I think, a lot of people describe it as places that are empty that shouldn't be empty.
Right.
Or places that are, they're on their own, they're not creepy. But something about that particular the context of that particular
Right.
room or that particular place.
Right. And that's why
Is
parts of the back room feel normal.
Yeah. Well,
And then there are parts that are clearly incorrect. I mean, you look at them and it's just like the big shaft with all of the levels that you can see.
Yeah.
I can understand it, but your brain is like, that shouldn't be here. But then there's the rooms with the whacked out perspective, and those are just wrong. You know?
Yeah.
So, and the piles of furniture that are not piles of furniture, they're piles of interconnected furniture.
Yeah.
You know? So it's like, oh, it's a pile of furniture. Well, okay, in and of itself, that's not wrong. Here, it's a little weird. It's all connected. Well, that's just wrong.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's just so that there's so much to like about this movie. And you're right, it does not stick the landing. It wanted to tie up Clark's story specifically. And in doing that, it limits the rest of the film.
Yeah, I don't think anything should ever be cleared up in these stories.
No.
I think
much like another film we're going to talk about in the future.
Yeah.
Which goes the other way.
Yeah.
Which doesn't tie things up.
But yeah, so I think for me, you know, if this film makes a lot of money, it's not going to upset me by any stretch of the imaginations, because there are far worse films out there and far less interesting films. And, you know, I think you never know what internet phenomena is going to carry over to be successful. So there is certainly an element of risk in making a film like this.
Yes.
And there's also an element of risk in that you're kind of, you know, I guess a lot of this is sort of remaking what you've already made.
Right.
Yeah. So there's those things. So there are risks in this. And
well, it's a similar risk. And let's talk about this for a second. So we have a YouTuber making this. We had Iron Lung earlier this year.
Yeah.
Video game adaptation by a YouTuber. Which, a lot of the same things that are appealing about both of the films.
Sure. And I think there is innately, when you say YouTuber, it's
a gamer.
There's a negative connotation.
Right.
And that
in this case, I'm not trying to be negative. I'm just trying
but I mean,
it's coming from a different viewpoint.
Sure. In generally speaking, that would be a warning sign, or for a lot of people, that would be considered a warning sign.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that everything on YouTube is terrible, or everything inspired by, video games is a great way to look at things, because for a long time there were really bad video game movies. And it was because people didn't know how to adapt video games to movies and carry over whatever it was about the game that was great, but make it into something that's a different medium. It's what it is.
A part of that started to change when video games became more narrative driven.
Yes.
Which helps.
Absolutely, because you have a narrative that you can build off. If your video game is just a concept, that's where you can run into issues, because what about the concept was popular? What made this concept right?
And that's where Backrooms is. Not a video game, but the concept.
The concept itself.
Very popular.
Yes, and the concept of it, I think, is pretty effective, as long as you don't give me too much, or, and I think...
if you define the unknown, it loses its power.
Yeah. Well, I think, and if you show the unknown too much, and in this case, there's a particular character that is probably shown far more than is too much. Again, and it just feels like how far can you take this without defining things? And I think they define too much. They just
in your opinion, 20 minutes too far.
Yes. And that's and literally that's, and there's stuff I want to leave this film with absolutely no idea of what I've just watched. as
Yes.
as far as someone saying, and this is unusual. This is, there's not every film you would want this. This is not like I go into every movie and I want to leave completely unable to say what I just watched.
Right.
But this film and its concept, that's what I want. I want you to freak me out in a way that I can't exactly explain, which is, I think, the Backrooms concept is this place that's just wrong, and it's just creepy, and it's just whatever. But I can't come out and tell you, well, it's creepy because these people are this, or you know what I mean? I want to just say it's just a creepy experience. It's 90 minutes of just strangeness.
And in a way, part of the appeal of the shorts, at least, is that it always felt inescapable.
Yeah.
So it was almost like an internet version of Daedalus Labyrinth.
Yeah.
And there's a Minotaur in there. So
yes.
It's a perfect, can you solve the labyrinth? Well, not if it's unsolvable.
Yes, exactly. And that's what I want.
Yeah, I want from the unsolvable labyrinth.
I don't want an explanation. I literally, it's like going into a haunted house. I don't need a story to tell me that I'm walking through a haunted house and it's scary.
Yep.
I just want to go through this experience, be unnerved, leave and feel like, well, that was incredibly creepy. I hope I don't ever find myself in a room with yellow wallpaper.
Right.
That's what I want from this. Like, I don't want to be like, oh, well, this is how the world works. And this is why he sees this and they see this. And because the moment it starts, it just, not that Backrooms shouldn't be different for everyone who enters them, but I feel like maybe, I don't know, maybe it actually shouldn't. Maybe it shouldn't be different. Like, it shouldn't be what you bring to it.
No. Yeah.
It's just what it is. And in this case,
it just exists.
This case, the reason why there's furniture is not because the individual going through into the Backrooms works at a furniture store. It's because the Backrooms are connected to a furniture store.
Right.
It's a locational thing rather than a psychological thing.
Scale is irrelevant.
Yeah. So I guess.
If another access point is 400 miles away in a car dealership, you might walk for 20 minutes in the Backrooms and find a bunch of cars.
And then you get the car stuff.
But it's not 500 miles away.
No, and there's an element where there's a seagull in there, and what the hell is the seagull doing in there? Don't tell me.
No, I know, right? Why is that there? I don't want to know.
I don't want to know. Don't tell me. Just show me. Just show me what you're doing. And
the yellow wallpaper reminded me of that short story, The Yellow Wallpaper.
Sure.
Which is also surreal and mind-bending. If you haven't read it, look it up. If you're in the market for some weird gothic.
Well, I mean, sure. Are you gonna? I mean, I guess if you, in some way, you get consumed by the Backrooms. In some way. I don't know that I even want that to be fine, and I don't even know that I don't know. I don't
even know if I want that to be true.
Yeah, maybe it is. Maybe it's not. I don't know. But
but again, there's a lot to like, and Sean's not far off. It's either 10 minutes too long or 10 minutes too short.
Yeah.
And I would argue on the long side. I think it needs shortened up.
Yeah. You
need a Blair Witch / Sopranos black screen ending.
Yeah. And that's kind of where I am. And the ending we get is sort of there, but not really.
Right.
It's not it's certainly what we get doesn't ruin everything.
No.
But it's the fact that it came so close to just being unusual enough.
Right.
Like whatever rules applied this narrative was in a position where it could break all of them. And that's a really rare place to be in. And it just didn't quite pull it off. That's and people can go see this and they can love it, and I won't.
We won't
be
think
like,
less of you.
No, I wouldn't anyway. But I mean, I wouldn't be like, yeah, but come on, da, da, da. And there's going to be people who do the yeah, but come on.
Yeah.
And I just wish that there wasn't really a legitimate yeah, but come on. But there kind of is. And so that's the only thing I guess that would be disappointed. If I'm glad this film exists. I think conversation's great, but the conversation should ultimately be, well, we can't prove anything, or that's an interesting idea, but we can't really support that theory, or there's not enough. Whereas I think to this one, when you start throwing out theories, you can start being like, well, okay, maybe.
And then, and then you lose.
It loses the magic a little bit.
Loses the magic a little bit. So there you go. That is Backrooms, rated R, A24. Not a miss.
No, not a miss. Not a direct hit, but it's compelling.
Yeah, and there's, for a film like this, to where we're saying it's so close to being great, that's pretty good.
Yeah, no, it is. It's and there are things that I think could have been tightened up, and elements that I would have done differently. There's elements of the score and things that, for me, you should never feel like you're watching it. You should always feel like you're in the middle of it. And a lot of times you did, but sometimes the score was not quite on that same page.
Yeah.
Like it was a score when it should have been an atmospheric, like this is actually what the character is hearing. Rather than as an audience, this is what you're hearing.
Yep.
And it kind of switches between that a couple times.
Yeah.
So there are things here or there that I would have done differently, but the performances are good. Set design obviously is great.
Phenomenal.
So there's far more reasons to go see this film than there are to not see this film. Let's put it that way.
There you go. Opens what's today? Thursday? Oh my God, it opens tomorrow. Friday the 29th. I don't know when you're going to hear this, but Friday the 29th, this opens. So, there you go. Don't forget to like us, follow us on social media. Go to the website, vsmoviepodcast.com. You'll get a lot of stuff there. You'll get links to the audio and the video. If you're all watching this on YouTube, click subscribe. That would be lovely. And like and share and all of that good stuff. Till we talk to you again, we've got other movies to watch. There are good ones in theaters. Go see them. There are plenty of good ones in theaters right now. Go see them. You don't have to see all of them, but see some of them. There you go. I'm Mark. That's Ryan. Bye, Ryan.
See you, folks.
And we'll talk to you all later. Bye-bye.